Okay, so welcome back to the channel. Anthony Joshua's return has been much awaited by the UK boxing fans. The UK heavyweight scene's taken off with the likes of David Adelaye and Jamie TKV when they fought for their British title. We had Johnny Bosch Fisher, and Dave Allen. They had that little dust up, and Dave Allen's come up best off on that. Dylan White's made a return, and then he pulled out of a fight. Heavyweight scene's been, and there's probably a few others that I've probably forgotten to mention, but the heavyweight scene's been quite busy over here in the UK. Daniel Dubois going to be facing Alexander Usyk very, very soon for the undisputed crown, and they're going to get their rematch. So Anthony Joshua, a lot of people are like, Anthony Joshua, what's going on for him? What's his next fight? Tyson Fury has firmly kind of stated to the fans that he's retired. Although, a lot of us don't actually believe that to be true. Tyson Fury obviously playing games, saying he's retired, wanting to sit out to see how the division unfolds, see a few fights happen and try and pick out the winner. I mean, I think he's looking for the winner of Dubois versus Usyk. Whoever comes out on top on that fight, I think Tyson Fury is going to probably want to fight. Frank Warren's going to want to make that fight as well. But the fans, this is what the fans have been calling for God knows how long, however. But now it seems like a good time, seeing that both guys are coming off of a loss. Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua, I've said this from time. I've made videos from maybe 3 years ago saying that Tyson Fury is showing fear. Like, he doesn't want to lose to Anthony Joshua. It's not that he's scared of him. He doesn't want to lose to Anthony Joshua. It will destroy his ego. So I personally believe that Tyson Fury was avoiding this fight. He's been avoiding this fight for years. He tries to make out to the fans like he wants to fight, but deep down he doesn't. He's like, he doesn't really want the fight. It's just play acting. So look, I think Joshua will take the fight in a heartbeat, and I think a lot of the fans, the neutral fans, forget about the Anthony Joshua fans or the Fury fans, the neutral boxing fans know Anthony Joshua will take that fight in a heartbeat. But when it comes to Tyson Fury, he likes to run around and play games. So we can't analyse here exactly when and if this fight's going to happen. So this is what I say, basically, this is what I propose. We're going to have to stop playing Tyson Fury's game at some point. He led us a merry dance with this whole Usyk undisputed, but we finally got an outcome. And now he's crying and saying that Turki Al-Sheikh set him up and he won both those fights, and John is doubling down on that. I propose Anthony Joshua, right, doesn't need Tyson Fury. I know a lot of us want to see the fight, but for me, he doesn't need Tyson Fury. If Fury doesn't want to fight him, just leave him where he is. Anthony Joshua's got a few more money fights in the works that I believe a lot of us can watch and enjoy, and Anthony Joshua can retire and we can look at him and say, look, he was one of our best heavyweights, without a doubt. So basically, look, I would say there is a rematch with Andy Ruiz, right? Andy Ruiz has been inactive for a little while. Lately, when we're getting these bouts now, where we're trying to get a build up to get these two guys to fight, like we had the Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez and Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero, to get them two to fight, and then hopefully get the winners, and the winner can fight the winners. And like last night, the Caleb Plant versus the Mexican dude. Sorry, I don't know his name. Can't remember his name, but the Mexican dude. And we had Charlo versus another dude. Sorry, I don't know these names. You see, they're fighting a little. They're trying to have a little fight, warm-up fight, and then to make the big fight. This is where you need to forget all that, because look, Charlo won. The man who was inactive for 2 years, he won, or a year and a half. He won his fight. Caleb Plant lost. So now the fight between Caleb Plant and Jamal Charlo is gone. It's destroyed. This is where you just got to make the fight. In the UFC, when two fighters have a grudge, they don't overcook it. They just make the fight, right? If you ain't fought for years, fair enough. Just get into camp. Get into a 12-week camp. Sort yourself out. You're a professional fighter. You've had many bouts, right? Forget about this warm-up bullshit. Just get into camp and take on that fighter and make that dough. Because if we had made Caleb Plant versus Jamal Charlo, it would have been a blockbuster fight for the PBC. If they had made Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney rematch straight away on that Riyadh card season, it would not have flopped. You know what I mean? So overcooking these fights sometimes, you're losing the product in the end. So anyway, I said Andy Ruiz, the rematch for Anthony Joshua. That's one fight I think he can revisit. Okay. Who else is there? I believe there was 3 fights, and I'm trying to think who is it. There's also a Dillian Whyte rematch, right? Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte. There's a rematch there. Obviously, bad blood between those guys. And that will be a slugfest, a fight between Dylan and Andy Joshua. It will do Wembley. That would do Wembley. Even though Dylan's profile's been taking a bit of a nosedive at the moment, I believe they would sell out Wembley Stadium. At Dylan White, they could, like, you know, obviously, again, I don't like the warm-up fights, but just get him a couple of cans to knock out and build it up, you know. And there is one more fight for Anthony Joshua. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I didn't actually plan this. Who is it? Exactly. Obviously, we know there's Tyson Fury. A Dubois rematch possibly. If he can get through, if he could beat Dillian Whyte and he can beat an Andy Ruiz, then why not a rematch with Daniel Dubois? But before, I don't know what's happened to this guy, but before maybe a rematch with Dubois, I mentioned obviously the other two, Dillian Whyte and Andy Ruiz. How about Gerard Big Baby Miller? I mean, obviously we know something's happened right now, and a lot of people believe it's a failed test, you know, and I can't argue against it. And I hope for his sake and for boxing and for the fans that he hasn't popped again. I hope he hasn't, because if he hasn't popped again, there's definitely a fight with Anthony Joshua going on there. There's definitely big interest to see Anthony Joshua versus Gerard Big Baby Miller. It's something that I mentioned before the Riyadh cards even came about, right? And a lot of people were laughing at me when I said that, right? Gerard Big Baby Miller versus Anthony Joshua. Like, oh, you stupid, what are you talking about? I was like, that's a big fight. There's a little history there. No, that's a dumb fight. What are you talking about? Gerard Big Man's 300 pounds, man. What do you think that's going to happen? Joshua's going to kill him. I said, no, I don't think so. Yeah, man, yeah, he will. Obviously, then Big Baby Miller went out there against Daniel Dubois, and they put on that showcase fight. You know, it was an exciting fight anyway. And we saw Big Baby Miller can perform without the PEDs. He can. Obviously, the punch output wasn't the same. But, you know, he took Dubois to the brink, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And then we never got the Wardley fight, obviously, because we don't know what's happened. But a rematch with Anthony Joshua, sorry, not a rematch, a fight with Anthony Joshua, Gerard Big Baby Miller, Andy Ruiz Jr., and also Dillian Whyte. And one more person, Deontay Wilder. How did I forget that? How did I forget Deontay Wilder? So we got Andy Ruiz, Dillian Whyte, Gerard Big Baby Miller, and Deontay Wilder. And not even to mention if Anthony Joshua could somehow win all of those fights, you know, we could look at a Dubois rematch in the UK. There's a future. There's fights out there outside Tyson Fury. That's all I'm saying. There's fights outside there, outside Tyson Fury. Do not let this man try to dictate the heavyweight division, even in retirement, right? Joshua has 5 fights out there, and then all of them, and none of those names say Tyson Fury. Anyway, look, enough said. Let me know what you think in the comments about the video, and obviously about Anthony Joshua and who he should fight next. Smash the like button, hit the bell for notifications to get all the new and latest videos.